All right, Shalom, Akim. Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, coming with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. And before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, of whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith, remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands, and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth, to you Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations. But your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. All right, I want to say peace and blessings to you all, Barakatham. All right, and just wanted to say please forgive me. You know what I'm saying? There may be noise in the background. It's a bunch of children that's playing outside, so please bear with the noise. All right. So what I want to get into this lesson is basically dealing with a certain trend that we seem to be that seems to be going on right now. All right, where these these hirelings, as I like to call them, are are going against particular doctrines. You know what I'm saying? That are sound doctrine. You know what I'm saying? That are clearly proven in the scriptures, if you have the Holy Spirit to be able to discern these things. And as the scriptures say, there would in the last days, they would not, though there would be those who would not take heed or hold on to sound doctrine. You see what I'm saying? So these agents, these hirelings, these sellouts, are actively going against these these prophecies, all right, and these doctrines that give us hope. You know what I'm saying? And this one doctrine in particular is dealing with the chariots. All right, the chariots of Israel. You know what I'm saying? What the world likes to call UFOs or UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon or unidentified flying objects. All right. The fact of the matter is that these things are not unknown. All right, they are known, and they've been here for a long time. And the so-called powers that be have known this. All right, and this is one of the things that keeps us hopeful, because they are the very vehicles, all right, that will be gathering the elect. All right, when all hell breaks loose, you know what I'm saying? When the destruction of the second death is upon us, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be by the use of these very vehicles that the elect are going to be saved. All right. And so what you got here is a man by the name of Bishop Jephthah. All right, Bishop Jephthah from one body. All right, previously called one body in Yahweh Shai, but now they're just called one body. Okay, and this is one of the first. This is one of the first signs. All right, that someone has sold out. Is when the name of the Lord is removed. You see what I'm saying? All right, when the name of the Lord is removed, and when their doctrine or their preaching point, I guess, turns into universalism, you know what I'm saying, or a universal message. You see what I'm saying? And those two traits are found in these two individuals that I'm going to be showing you today. All right. So let's without further ado, let's listen to what they got to say. All right.
Give me Isaiah 66 and 15. Because the way that these brothers have been bringing these scriptures out, man, out there in them street corners, it's all lies. It's all lies. It's their doctrine. Man doctrine. That's what keeps us on the bottom. That's all the division, all the hatred. The same old thing that the world teaches us. Read this out. I wanted to go back to this because I wanted to bring it back to these brothers and sisters again. Read it out.
Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire.
See, they thinking he coming with flying ships and they gonna be beaming and blowing things up. This is the imaginations of fools. This is here purifying believers, man, and refining their faith, man. And that fire represents the word and the truth, not no laser beams.
Bring it out. Bring it out.
This is what get us caught up, man, because we got in our hearts vengeance. We don't supposed to have in our hearts vengeance for no one.
That's right.
Read.
And with his chariots like a whirlwind.
See, they thinking these are flying ships, man. Saucers coming through the air, man. See, this is the sickness of these so-called elders, man. These are the ones openly rejected Christ back then. See, we all done been here before. We just don't understand it. It's powerful than what you think. He already knew who was going to betray him. And his church represents his heavenly army, man. The ministers that walk with him, that believe in him, that trust in his word, man. Executing righteousness. They don't want righteousness. They want hatred, man. They up here so-called battling the so-called white man. He falling just like they falling.
Bring it out, man.
Read up.
To render his anger with fury.
You know, to render his anger with fury, man. He's going to be purging evil, man. He's going to be bringing these demonic spirits to a low point, man. No matter what zip code you in, you're going to fall.
That's right.
If you don't have the Messiah. No matter what zip code in, you're going to fall. Read up.
And his rebuke with flames of fire.
Judgment against sin and disobedience. This is what the word is about, man. It is to refine you again, to bring you back into a righteous spirit. But you know what? A lot of us, we just don't read our Bibles. A lot of us, we don't like to participate in the church.
All right. So that's one all right, that's one witness, or shall I say that's one testimony, I suppose I could call it that. But you just heard it from Bishop Jephthah. And so here's the second one that you're going to hear from Deacon Hakah. All right. Like I said, they both have the same traits. Okay. The name of the Heavenly Father and his Son are removed. Okay. That's number one. Number two, the doctrine becomes universal. All right. A universal doctrine, or a world-friendly doctrine, talking about everyone can be saved, so on and so forth. All right. Completely disregarding what is written within the scriptures. All right. That this is only set for one group of people. Okay. So without further ado, let's hear Deacon Hakah.
UFOs and black Israelites' infatuation with them. Did you know that there are some people that believe that after the Battle of Armageddon, which happens north of Israel, Jesus Christ destroys the armies and the world powers at Armageddon, north of Israel? These individuals believe that Jesus Christ picks up the bodies, or whether dead or alive, via UFO, and takes them from north of Israel all the way to America and drops them off there. Why? Because they believe the lake of fire is America, or will be in America. When the book of Revelation tells you at the Battle of Armageddon, they're thrown into the lake of fire there, showing you that the lake of fire is in proximity to what you would call the Middle East, not oceans away and continents away in America. Tune in this Friday where we're breaking down the whole book of Revelation.
All right. So pretty much, all right, he misunderstands the doctrine that's taught. All right. Now the men of the Lord from the teachings of Great Millstone. All right, beginning with our apostles, bishops, and elders on down. Okay, we teach that there are two places that are going to be absolutely destroyed and devastated by nuclear fire. That will be the state of Israel, all right, over in the Levant region, okay, or the so-called Middle East, as it were. And the other place is America, all right, scripturally known as spiritually Babylon the Great, all right, Sodom and Egypt, okay. These previous great cities, all right, they're encompassed in one. You see? And this is that one place. These are two places that's going to be absolutely, all right, demolished or desolated, as the scriptures say. You see what I'm saying? So, just trying to keep this on track. Basically, what I want to do is I want to make this into a two lesson, all right, or a 2-point lesson. So I want to touch a little bit on the chariots, all right, or the UFOs, and also want to touch on the angels, all right, the ones who pilot them. Okay. So let's get this started here in the book of Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 16. Okay, it reads, "When I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice. Rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself that I might rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops." Let me show you. All right. So again, when I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice. Rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself that I might rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops. All right. And this is a time where, all right, the people are going to see. They're going to see exactly what Wisdom of Solomon in chapter 5 was talking about. All right, what the scriptures say, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, the strangeness of the salvation of the nation of Israel. All right, you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians, and our enemies are going to behold this. They're going to watch this, okay, and they're going to be astonished at it. You see what I'm saying? And I find it interesting because there's nothing coincidental. All right, there is no coincidence that all of a sudden, all right, you got these two individuals, all right, who we can clearly see have sold out. We can clearly see they have done away with the doctrine. They have done away with the names of the Heavenly Father and His beloved Son. All right, that they took the bag. We can clearly see this, man. All right. It's very interesting that just days apart, they both start attacking the doctrine of the chariots. All right. At a time where all these scientists have been unalived by this government, all of a sudden where these ufologists are being targeted, such as David Wilcock, okay, is not a coincidence. You see what I'm saying? Someone is getting a memo. You see? Someone is definitely getting a memo. Okay? They're getting their orders. They're getting their marching orders. What should they attack this time? What doctrine should they try and attack? You know what I'm saying? Because the whole point is to be that stumbling block. All right? The whole point is to lead the undesirables You see what I'm saying? Out of this equation. Okay? That's why Yahushua said, all right, take heed that no man deceive you. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. All right? Remember what I said. All right? When all else fails, look to prophecy. Okay? If you're confused on anything, look to prophecy. That's the only thing that will remain sure is prophecy. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 31. And the only ones that can break down these prophecies, these similitudes, all right, these dark sayings, are the prophets. Matthew 24 and 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. See what I'm saying? And simultaneously, there will be great destruction that is going to be happening. All right, at the same time. When the Lord said that he will send the great prince Michael, that's also what's in prophecy. Okay, Daniel chapter 12. Let's do that. Okay, let's go to Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. You see what I'm saying? All right, here's Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 31 and verse 5. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Tazabawath, defend Jerusalem. Defending also he will deliver it, and passing over he will preserve it. You see what I'm saying? So, these agents, all right, and through the Spirit, the elder apostle Tahar had coined this year 2026, the year of apostasy, sellouts, and agents. Okay? We can clearly see, all right, that these agents were sent to shake up the faith of those who are not of the elect. You see? Only the elect are going to be able to make it through these through these wiles of the devil, if you will. You know what I'm saying? These cunningly devised fables, man. All right? Because these jokers are speaking, all right, when they're not supposed to be saying these types of things, man. You know what I'm saying? Teaching things that they ought not be teaching, because none of this is sound doctrine, man. All right, let's go to 2 Kings. Okay, 2 Kings chapter 2. Let's start at verse 7. It reads, and 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood to view afar off, and they too stood by Jordan. All right, this is Elijah and his disciple Elisha. All right. Verse 8, it says, and Elijah took his mantle, all right, and wrapped it together and smote the waters. All right, a mantle is like a cape. Okay. And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters, and they were divided hither and thither, so that they two, he and Elisha, went over on dry ground. And it came to pass, when they were gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee, before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. And he said, Thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind unto heaven. All right? And Elijah went up by a whirlwind unto heaven. All right? Again, verse 11. It says, And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind unto heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, My father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces. All right? Let's look up the word for chariot. The word for chariot in the Hebrew is rakab. All right? Rakab. It says a vehicle. A vehicle. By implication, a team. By extension, cavalry. All right? Cavalry. All right? What did we read earlier? As birds flying. Isaiah chapter 31 and verse 5. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it. And passing over, he will preserve it. All right? A cavalry. See what I'm saying? A cavalry. When it says that he will invade them with his troops. You see? A cavalry. Let's look up the word for cavalry. All right? All right, this is the word for cavalry.
Cavalry.
All right, it says a highly mobile army. A highly mobile army unit using vehicular transport, such as light armor and helicopters. Okay? So how is that in the heavenly sense? All right. Again, a highly mobile army unit using vehicular transport, such as light armor and helicopters. So, when it says he will invade them with his troops, okay, this is where it comes in with Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 2. When they see it, they shall be, let me just get it real quick. Instead of just quoting it. All right. Wisdom of Solomon. Chapter 5 and verse 2. It says, When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, This was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. You see? This is what it's finna look at. This is what it's finna look like, man. You know what I'm saying? When the troops, you know what I'm saying, when the Lord and his host comes to gather up his elect, it's gonna look like this. Right? This is what it's gonna look like, man. See what I'm saying? This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 12. It reads, And they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud. All right? Clouds, all right? The clouds and these chariots are synonymous. Okay? They're synonymous, man. It says, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Their enemies beheld them. These nations are going to behold as the Israelites are taken up. Okay? Because there's no other way to escape this coming destruction, this coming devastation by the way of these nuclear missiles. There's no other way. All right? You can't go underground. You see what I'm saying? And you cannot be in this country when it happens. You cannot be in this landmass when it goes down. All right? Either be in America or be over in the nation of Israel. All right? Or shall I say the current state of Israel. If you're in either one of these locations when it goes down, all right, your ass is done, man. You see what I'm saying? The only way to escape this is to go up. Let me get this real quick. All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 22. And let's go to verse 17. It reads, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, the house of Israel is to me become dross." Let me show you something real quick while I get this precept. All right. Ezekiel 22, verse 17, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, the house of Israel is to me become dross. All they are brass, and tin, and iron, and lead, in the midst of the furnace. There are even the dross of silver. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, Behold, because ye are all become dross." All right. And when he says dross, it's talking about these impurities. All right. These impurities within precious metals, within different things like copper and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? All right. The way you get these impurities out, the way you get them out is by burning them. You gotta burn it out. You gotta purify it. You see what I'm saying? Because you all become dross. When you look at the way of these 2/3, man, the way they behave, all right, the way they carry themselves, you see what I'm saying? How they've gone away backwards, how they just can't get right, all right? And even those who call themselves Israelites, man, all right, they haven't changed. They haven't gotten themselves together, man. All right, we just saw 2 sellouts. You see? Because ye are all become dross, behold, therefore, I will gather you into the midst of Jerusalem. All right, remember, Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. Verse 20, "As they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin into the midst of the furnace, to blow the fire upon it, to melt it, so will I gather you in mine anger and in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you." You see? And when those nuclear bombs, when those nuclear missiles start dropping, all right, the Lord is going to gather his elect in the midst of it. All right? And his elect will narrowly escape. As the scriptures say that the elect, the righteous, shall scarcely be saved. You see? He's gonna swoop in right in the nick of time, man. Okay, and gather us up. But to the rest, to the 2/3, they're gonna be left here. They're gonna be melted. You see what I'm saying? Let's go to Zechariah. All right, Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. All right. It says, "And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall be consumed away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouths." And what type of force can do something like that? To have somebody completely melt and evaporate, you know what I'm saying, as they're standing on their feet. It has to be a nuclear blast that causes this. A nuclear blast that causes this type of force. You see what I'm saying? The same thing. You can go to Isaiah the 34th chapter. Okay? Well, it's going into what? It's going into that the heavens shall roll together as a scroll. That's talking about a mushroom cloud. You see? So that's the chariots for you, man. Now to the other part of this lesson. I wanted to touch on the angels real quick. All right, go there real quick. Check it out. All right. Excuse me. Okay, this is Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 4. All right, starting at verse 4, it reads, "And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself." All right, remember what I said. The chariots and the clouds, all right, are both interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? They're both synonymous with each other. Okay, it's one of those dark sentences. You know what I'm saying? Those dark sayings. Okay. It says a great cloud and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Okay. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. Those 4 living creatures are the angels. Okay. It says, "And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass." All right. Verse 8, because when you go into that burnished brass, all right, it's going into their skin tone. Okay. The same way it described Yahushua in Revelation, the first chapter. All right. Starting at the 13th verse. You see? Verse 8, it says, "And they had the hands of a man under their wings, and their 4 sides, on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another." All right. "They turned not when they went, and they went every one straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man, and the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side, and they 4 also had the face of an eagle." All right. Now, when you read, when an ordinary person reads that, they'll get bugged out. You know what I'm saying? When an ordinary person reads that, they'll think, "Whoa, that's crazy." You know what I'm saying? That's weird. You see what I'm saying? But you have to remember, all right, these are dark sentences. All right. It says that they had a face like a lion. So it says, all right, it says it's like it says, "And the face of a lion," all right, "and the face of an ox, and the face of an eagle." So basically, they were fierce as a lion. All right, they were stout as an ox. They were stern as an eagle. You see what I'm saying? So they all looked like men. All 4 of them looked like men, but they had very strong demeanors that can immediately be interpreted as threatening. Okay, when you see all these different these different jokers that talk about, what they saw in these top secret clearances, you know what I'm saying? All right. That one man, I think his name was David Balgrove, where he mentioned what he saw in at NASA, and he said that there was one image that he saw that had black people getting off. All right. And the woman from Project Camelot, she asked, "Do you mean people with dark skin getting off?" He said, "Not dark, black, really black." You know what I'm saying? And he said that a rough estimate of their height would be around 7 feet tall. All right, and it's a very threatening type of or a very fierce, very stout, and very stern type of demeanor on these men. Okay, as I'm going to give you an example. All right, but real quick, let me get this one video. All right, I think I still have it. Bear with me.
Huge cigar-shaped ship appeared over the Air Force Base. These cigar-shaped ships were over a mile in length. One of them landed on the airport landing strip area. The back of this craft opened up, and several hundred young men with huge, heavy weapons came out of two sides of the ship and formed a protection line around the ship. And the people at that Air Force base, the commander, had a meeting with the individuals that were aboard this ship. And this particular race that landed those ships and that are seen in these huge cigar-shaped ships, they are a black race. They look like African Americans. They were about 6'4", 6'5", huge weapons. And if you've ever seen a race of people that were conquerors, that had never been conquered, they've got this look about them of arrogance. That is exactly what these extraterrestrials had, and they informed these people at this American Air Force base that not only were they from a militaristic society, but they had control a large portion of the galaxy that we live in.
All right. So with that said, now we can read that again. Okay, verse 10, and as for their likeness, the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man and the face of a lion on the right side, and they four had the face of an ox on the left side, and they four also had the face of an eagle. Okay, a lion is fierce. They all had a fierce demeanor about them. Okay, according to what this one man said had occurred at this Air Force base, and they met these angels. He said that they had a fierceness about them. All right, that they were stout like an ox. You see what I'm saying? A stoutness about them, meaning they're strong. All right, they're unmovable. What did he say? He said, if you look at them, you could tell just by the way they carry themselves that they were conquerors, that they've never been conquered before, and they cannot be conquered. All right, you have that sort of confidence about them. Okay, because they you can't stop them. All right, they're stern like eagles. About their faces, they're stern. You see what I'm saying? Let's look at the definition for stern. All right, stern.
Stern.
It says harsh, hard, or even or severe in manner of character. You see what I'm saying? Showing or expressing displeasure or disapproval, forbidding or harsh. You see what I'm saying? Firm or unyielding, uncompromising. You see what I'm saying? That's what these angels are. And they represent our Lord Yahweh Shai. All right, the Son of the Most High, man. This is the force that we're talking about here. All right? And this is the force that is coming to our aid, as I'm going to show you very soon. So going back, let's go to verse 11. It says, "Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings of every one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. And they went every one straight forward. Whither the Spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire." All right? Very black. You see what I'm saying? Very dark. "And like the appearance of lamps, it went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning." Okay? So they also had an aura about them. They also had an aura about them, man. Okay? "And like the appearance of lamps, it went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning." Okay? When I think of this, or when I read this, I'm thinking about Super Saiyans. You know what I'm saying? Let me show you what I mean. All right. So this is basically what I think about when I read that. Okay. It says, "And as the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps, it went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning." Okay. All right, and that's just me. I'm speaking as a man, of course, but you know, you gotta think about this thing, man. It's far out. All right. All right, verse 14. "And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning." Okay? Supersonic speed, man. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that you see in these comic books. All right, where they can move faster than the Flash. All right? Quicker than Quicksilver. Verse 15. "Now I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth, by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work Slacket. And their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them 4. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the Spirit was to go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels." So we're talking about technology so advanced, all right? So spiritual that their own life forces within the technology itself, all right? Meaning that it's living. Telepathic, communications and all types of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? They're operating in the spirit realm. This is not the natural realm. So, of course, to the natural, it can't be perceived. This is why Bishop Jephthah all right, is having a hard time with it. This is why, you know what I'm saying, Deacon Hakah is having a hard time with it. You see what I'm saying? Because these things are not naturally perceived. They have to be perceived through the spirit, man. Right? So pretty much, I said I was gonna give you an example, all right, of how fierce these angels are. All right, so let me show you one example. Let's go to 2 Maccabees. All right, 2 Maccabees chapter let me see. Chapter 3. 2 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 26, verse 23. All right. Just to give you a little backstory on this, the ruler, all right, the ruler of this province, you know what I'm saying, wanted to go into, all right, this temple. The Israelites had this temple where they you know, they had treasures. It was like a treasury, right? And the money that was in this treasury, it was meant to go to the fatherless. It was meant to go to the widows. You see what I'm saying? To those in need, right? And so this ruler of that province wanted to take that money and take the gold and the silver for himself. All right. And the priests had prayed to the Lord to protect that money because it was used for righteous means. You see? And so the Lord defended it. Let's see how. All right. And this man, Heliodorus, was the treasurer that was sent, all right, to take this money. 2 Maccabees 3 and 23. Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. Now as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits and the Prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed, all right, to come in with him were astonished at the power of the Most High and fainted, and were sore afraid. For there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely, and smote at Heliodorus with his forefoot. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold. Verse 26, moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side, and scourged him continually, and gave him many sore stripes. They beat the brakes off this dude, Heliodorus. They beat the brakes off this nigga. And Heliodorus fell suddenly upon the ground, and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up and put him into a lettle. Thus him that lately came with a great train and with all his guards into the said treasury, they carried him out, being unable to help himself with his weapons. So his weapons were useless, and he could do nothing against these angels. You see what I'm saying? And manifestly, they acknowledged the power of the Most High. For he by the hand of the Most High was cast down and lay speechless without all hope of life. They beat this man to the inch of his life, to where he couldn't even speak. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about broken ribs, broken bones, all types of shit going on, man. You know what I'm saying? Windpipe crushed. You see what I'm saying? Lungs caved in. Like they put the beat down on this nigga, man. You see what I'm saying? Verse 30. But they praised the Lord that had miraculously honored his own place. For the temple, which a little afore was full of fear and trouble, when the Almighty Lord appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. Then straightway certain of Heliodorus' friends prayed Onias that he would call upon the Most High to grant him his life, who lay ready to give up the ghost. This man was about to die, boy. Verse 32. And the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Heliodorus by the hands of the Jews, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. All right? If I send this dude back to the king, like this, the king is going to think that we're the ones who put who beat the bricks off him, and it's going to be a backlash. You see what I'm saying? So, all right, they prayed that the Lord would heal him. Verse 33. Now, as the high priest was in the middle of making an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared and stood beside Heliodorus. All right, after beating the dog shit out of this nigga, man, stood right beside him, saying, "Give Onias the high priest great thanks, insomuch as for his sake the Lord hath granted thee life. And seeing that thou hast been scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of the Most High." And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more. So Heliodorus, after he had offered sacrifice unto the Lord, and made great vows unto him that had saved his life, and saluted Onias, had returned to his host to the king. Had returned with his host to the king. Then testified he to all men the works of the great power, which he had seen with his own eyes. And when the king asked Heliodorus who might be a fit man to be sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, "Hey, man," he said, "if thou hast any enemy or any traitor, send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged, if he escape with his life. For in that place, no doubt, there is an especial power of the Most High." You see what I'm saying? He said, "Hey, man, listen, if you really want that money, then you need to send somebody that you don't like. Send an enemy." You see what I'm saying? All right, and then and watch as he comes limping back, if he comes back at all. Okay. Verse let me see, verse 39, it says, "For he that dwelleth in heaven hath his eye on that place, and defendeth it, and he beateth and destroyeth them that come to hurt it. And the things concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out on this sort." All right. So, I just wanted to give you a quick glimpse of, just how fearsome, all right, and how stern, you see what I'm saying, and how stout these angels truly are. All right. And disregard all the crap that you're hearing coming from that dude Bishop Jephthah and Deacon Hakkad, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't know what the hell they talking about. All right, we have a great thing to look forward to, man. All right, great power is coming. Great power is coming. That's going to deliver us. Great power that's going to defend us, man. And these chariots are a part of that great power. You see? So I'm going to cut that there. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zachariah Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Chak Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.